Hey guys, what's going on? It is Coach Justin here with a video for you guys on stress, bored, and emotional eating. I'd say 90% of my clients that I work with come into coaching and struggle with some sort of stress, bored, and emotional eating. I myself too will eat out of stress, boredom, and emotion as well too. And I wanted to go over 4 simple and practical strategies that you can start applying today. Before we jump in, I wanted to go over one thing, and it's we're probably not ever going to completely solve this problem. It's not like you're going to practice these things or other things and never eat out of stress, boredom, or emotion ever again. All we want to do is just get better at it, get better at coping with them. And to be honest with you, sometimes ice cream, a glass of wine is the perfect fit when you're stressed, bored, or dealing with some emotion. The idea is we just want to bring that back a little bit, and so it's not the only way we respond to these things. So again, I'm gonna go over four quick things. Hopefully you guys can start applying them today and get better at coping with some of these things. So number 1, just to check in with your environment. Environment trumps motivation, willpower, discipline every single time. Look around your counters. Are there like cookies, chips, breakfast cereal, some of those foods that we might struggle with sitting out in plain sight, just kind of taunting us, you know what I mean? If there's a cinnamon bun there and you see it and you smell it, at some point we're going to cave into that. So one thing to do is just check in your environment, see if it's set up to help you succeed or if it's making things difficult with you. If you know your trigger foods, see if it's possible to remove most of them, and if you do want to get them, make yourself go out and get them. If that's not possible, if you've got family that you live with and they enjoy some of those foods and it's not something they're working on, talk to them, have that difficult conversation, see if you can make those foods harder to get to, and setting some boundaries around that as well. Number 2 is to know your triggers, patterns, and what problem you want to solve. Typically when it comes to stress, bored, and emotional eating, there's some sort of cue, routine, reward around it. It's all just a habit. So we want to know, identify those trigger foods, the ones that you have a tough time with. See if you can start paying attention to some patterns. I recommend spending like a week or 2 on this and kind of actually journaling to see what comes up for you. You might notice that when you're with someone, that's when you tend to stress, bored, or emotionally eat. Or it might be a work-related thing after doing emails or phone calls. That's when you're kind of worked up and you go to food or drinks or something along those lines. There might even just be a routine. It's at the end of the day, you do dinner with the family, you guys sit down, have some ice cream, and maybe you get a lot of value out that, but it's something that you want to pull back a little bit. So it might be a little difficult conversation that you have to step into with them and ask them for their support. But know your triggers, patterns, and what problem you want to solve. When we do stress, bored, and emotionally eat, it's usually because we're trying to fix something with food. So are you hoping it provides you more joy, relieve stress, solve boredom, some of those things. But again, spend maybe like a week or 2 noticing and naming what's going on. See if you can identify some of these triggers, patterns, and what problem you're hoping to solve. And once you can kind of create that awareness, it's easier to step into number 3, which is to choose an action step. When you see the routine around it, pick one or 2 other things that you want to experiment with, and instead of going to food or drinks that you can try that might give you the same outcome or solve the same problem that you're looking for. I know for me, when I'm stressed now, what I do is I take a hot shower, and I'm fortunate to mostly work from home. So if I'm stressed out in the middle of the day or in the evening or something, I can just literally stop and jump in a hot shower. It's kind of like my go-to, and it's been a really great coping strategy for me. Some of you might just need to step outside and take a few short breaths, but the idea is to choose an action step to get us to slow down and think about what's going on, think about what we're doing. When you do practice that action step, find a way to kind of like celebrate it. We change best when we're having fun and we feel good. So when you recognize that hey man, instead of going to stress, bored, or emotional eating, I practice this action step, you get excited about it. Celebrate it, do a little dance. Create a jar of awesome where you put a marble in a transparent jar, and so you can recognize those wins visually. And then the last one here is just to be patient And like I said, realize it's probably gonna take a while. It's not something that we're trying to solve. It's something that we're just trying to get better at and get better at coping with. So just to review real quick, with stress board and emotional eating, check that environment out. Is it set up to help you succeed, or is it making things a little bit more difficult with you? And that's wherever you spend the most time, home, work, or even in your social circle. Number 2, know your triggers, patterns, and what problem you want solved. Usually there's some routines around these things, and if you can identify them, that awareness goes so far. Number 3, choose that action step that as your new routine versus going to food or drinks that you feel can provide or help solve that problem that you want solved. And number 4 is just realizing it's probably going to take a while, and it's okay that we don't solve the problem. We just want to get better at coping with it. So hope you guys found this helpful. Justin, out of here.